Reborn to the day my boyfriend had acid thrown on him. In my past life, I stepped in front of my boyfriend to block the sulfuric acid his brother threw at him. My entire face was disfigured. He took 800,000 yuan from the perpetrator, signed a letter of forgiveness on my behalf, then handed me divorce papers and married his first love. When I opened my eyes again, I left early and stayed far away. In this life, let him be the one disfigured, ruined, and left with nothing. Hello everyone. Welcome to Empress Revenge Stories. Let's begin. I blocked the sulfuric acid my boyfriend's brother threw at him, and my entire face was destroyed. My boyfriend took 800,000 yuan, forgave his brother, and said, "My brother just acted on impulse. Since I've already married you, don't keep harping on it." When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the second before the acid was thrown. This time, I quickly moved out of the way. I woke up in the hospital. After the first reconstructive surgery, the bandages came off. The sight of that pitted, scarred face in the mirror sent me into terrified screams. Shin Si, who was outside the ward, heard me and rushed in to ask what was wrong. When I turned around, the things in his hands dropped to the floor in shock. His instinctive reaction hurt me even more. "Call the police. I'm going to sue him. I will definitely sue him." My resentful voice tugged at the freshly healed skin on my face, making it ache. Shin Si turned pale and sat down beside me. "Nian Nian, don't call the police. He's still my brother after all. You know how my mom and I have wronged him." I stared at him in disbelief. "So I'm just ruined like this? What am I supposed to do with my life?" "I'm going to sue him." Shin Si's eyes darted away. Then he suddenly said firmly, "Nian Nian, I'll marry you." "Don't sue him. I'll marry you." "I don't want him to marry me. I want justice." It was my first time visiting Shin Si's parents. The food had just been served when the door suddenly rang. Shin Si's mother opened the door, and a man burst in, his face twisted with rage, holding a thermos and charging toward the dining table. As soon as Shin Si saw him, he stood up with a smile. "Brother, you're here. Don't call me brother. I don't have a little brother like you. The old man actually dares to give you money. You son of a mistress, go to hell." With that, he unscrewed the thermos and flung the contents outward. At that critical moment, I threw myself in front of Shin Si. The corrosive liquid splashed across my face and neck. The sizzling sound of sulfuric acid eating away at skin rang in my ears. I was rushed to the hospital screaming in agony. And now, he was telling me not to pursue it. There was no way I wouldn't. I would definitely sue him. I pushed him away, desperate to go to the police station immediately to file a report. Shin Si grabbed my arm, unable to meet my eyes, but his voice was eerily calm. "The police already filed the case. Your parents took the money and signed the settlement agreement long ago." "Nian Nian, it's useless." It felt like a hammer to my skull. A crushing sense of betrayal surged through me. I turned back and met his lowered gaze. He continued, "Besides, from the day you were hospitalized until now, all the reconstructive surgery costs were paid by them. Nian Nian, we can't afford to fight him." I felt like I'd fallen into an ice cellar. My face seemed to make him unable to look at me directly. He turned his head away, his arm still gripping me tightly, his voice laced with feigned pain. "We're adults now. Don't be foolish out of spite. Nian Nian, forgive my brother. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I'll marry you." I looked at the man before me. Tears streamed down my pitted face for a long time but wouldn't fall. What was this? His marrying me had become my blessing. "But now you can't even bear to look at me." He turned and pulled me into a hug. "Nian Nian, I'll be sorry to you for the rest of my life. Just give me the chance to take care of you." In the end, I still married Shin Si, because after I argued with him, my mother stormed into the hospital. When she saw me turn around, she froze for 2 seconds, then pointed at my face and cursed. "Someone like you finding Shaoshan is like striking gold. Look at yourself now. We already used the money to buy your brother a house. We can't give it back. Just marry him obediently and forget about suing anyone." I later learned that he had accepted 200,000 yuan in compensation and 100,000 yuan in bride price from the Shin family. On the day we got our marriage certificate, the photographer started to say, a handsome man and a beautiful woman, but choked halfway through the words. Embarrassed. He lowered his head and fiddled with his camera, but Shinsei held my hand and still managed to smile for me. Nian Nian, you look better today than before. I forced a smile back at him, and he stiffened. Oh well, at least he still loved me. After we got married, Shinsei suddenly got a spot in a singing competition. Both of us had graduated from performing arts schools. In that circle, there were too many good-looking people, and we barely made enough to get by. Normally, such an opportunity wouldn't have fallen to us. Shinsei said it was just luck. He quickly left for the program's training sessions, while I stayed home to recuperate. Shinsei's mother didn't like me much, maybe because of my face, maybe for other reasons. Nian Nian, to be honest, with your appearance, you shouldn't have married into our family. But our Xiaoshan is a loyal man. He has to support the whole family alone. So you need to be a virtuous wife. Look at this floor, you didn't put your heart into it. Mop it again. I nodded quickly. All the household money was in Shinsei's mother's hands, including my compensation. I was afraid that if I displeased her, my reconstructive surgeries would be cut off. But at least, although she had a sharp tongue, the surgeries never stopped. Meanwhile, Shinsei's show became a huge hit. He gained some fame, and his company immediately pushed him into a production crew. Shinsei suddenly entered the entertainment industry, and the web drama he starred in happened to become popular. His career soared, but so did the rumors and scandals. My face had recovered about 60%, but it still bore crawling, worm-like scars. Worse still, my face could no longer show clear emotions. For an actor, that meant my performing career was over for good. In the second year of our marriage, he became more famous and spent less and less time at home. His mother's expression grew increasingly sour, until one day, I made soup and brought it to the set to see him. I wore a hat and a mask, on those familiar grounds. I didn't want anyone to recognize me, but at the studio entrance, I was still stopped. Hey, who are you? The security guard asked. I didn't like the probing look he gave my face. I averted my eyes and said, I'm Shinsei's family member. I'm here to see him. The guard looked skeptical. Family? What family? You're not a Seising fan, are you? No, I'm really his family. Wait a moment, I'll call him. I sent him 2 or 3 messages on my phone, but there was no reply. The guard's suspicion grew. Look here, you young ladies, no proper job. Chasing after celebrities all day. Can that put food on the table? Are you obsessed or what? Get lost. I stared at the screen with no response, then glanced at the studio. Maybe he was busy. I crouched by the exit. The autumn wind was chilly. My legs went numb from squatting before people finally started wrapping up inside. Staff filed out one by one. I shrank into a corner, unnoticed. After wave of people left, I saw the guard getting anxious to eat, so I slipped in when he wasn't paying attention. Usually, the artists leave first. Why was Shinsei taking so long? I kept my head down, lowering my hat every time I passed someone, searching through one dressing room after another. Then, outside a resting room, before I could even open the door, I heard sounds that made my face burn. I assumed it was some random couple having a fling and was about to leave, until I heard my name. Xinge. Between me and Sunyan, who's prettier? A familiar voice. Of course it's you. That ugly freak can't compare to you now. I can't even stand to touch her. You're much better. Then why did you reject me back then? I pressed myself against the door. Heavy breathing mixed with his answer. That was different. Back then, she had a future ahead of her. I had to think about our future. After I found out Director Lee had noticed her, I immediately brought her home. Who knew this would happen? But if she hadn't had that accident, how could that role in Director Lee's film have fallen to you? You should be secretly happy. I stood outside the door, my blood turning cold drop by drop. The life that had been ruined by accident, the pain and grievance endured on the operating table, none of it had faded. Instead, at this moment, it grew wildly. I pushed the door open and pressed the shutter button in their horrified faces. They wanted fame. I'd give them fame. Sunyan, stop. Let me explain. Shinsei chased after me. Naked. I ran with the phone, splashing the boiling hot soup onto both of them. Amid their screams, I fled. My blood was boiling. I would send both of them to hell. I couldn't go home. I had been out of the industry for too long. So I quickly contacted my best friend. I told her I wanted to expose Shin Si and asked her to recommend some people. Meng Yuan immediately set up a meeting for me. While driving there, a heavy truck barreled straight toward me as I sat at a red light. In the last second, I closed my eyes. After the deafening crash, I was standing beside my own body. I was dead. But only after death did I learn that the truck driver had been bribed by Shin Si. Meng Yuan had betrayed me and later received 1,000,000 yuan in hush money. After my funeral, which Shin Si turned into a tearful spectacle, earning him sympathy and a wave of online praise as a devoted husband. Netizens even dug up my hospital photos showing my disfigured face. They mocked me, saying I must have saved the galaxy in a past life to have married Shin Si and gotten such a good mother-in-law. They climbed higher and higher on my bones and blood. I stayed by their side, wanting nothing more than to skin them alive and drink their blood. But it wasn't until Shin Si's grand wedding to Wen Qing, in their honeymoon suite, that he finally admitted. Back then, my brother gave me 800,000. I used 500,000 to buy myself a spot in the competition, and used the remaining 100,000 for her surgeries. Just looking at her made me sick. Good thing it wasn't my face. Sun Yan brought it all on herself. Rage consumed me. I swore that if I ever got a second chance, I would make him taste the same pain. And then I opened my eyes, and I was back at the dinner table. Nian Nian is so pretty. Have some fish. As I blinked, Shin Si's mother sat across from me, placing a tender piece of fish in my bowl. This was nothing like the treatment I got after marriage. I looked around. Shin Si sat beside me, smiling. What's wrong? Daydreaming. I suppressed the hatred in my heart. A bold idea formed. I had been reborn. Reborn on the day I was supposed to meet Shin Si's mother. The doorbell rang. Maybe it's a package. I'll get it. Shin Si's mother set down her chopsticks and went to open the door. What's wrong? Nian Nian. I looked at the hypocritical smile on his face, shook my head, and subtly shifted my body to the side. Peel 8 shrimps for me, I said. He happily took the plate. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted a gift box next to the dining table, decent size. Good for self-defense. Shouting erupted at the door. Just like in my past life, Shin Si's brother walked in. Shin Si was sitting in his chair, holding a half-peeled shrimp, and even smiled. Brother, you're here. Then, amid a furious roar, the corrosive liquid shot straight toward him. I reacted instantly, stepped back, grabbed the gift box, and held it beside me. Apart from a slight burning sensation on my thigh from a few splashes, I was completely unharmed. Shin Si screamed. The shrimp fell from his hand. The napkin on the table turned yellow and black upon contact with the acid. His mother rushed forward. Shin Jing froze, just like when he'd hit the wrong person last time. I called the police immediately and crowded around Shin Si with a frantic face. What do we do? What do we do now? Shin Si clutched his face and wailed. His mother ran in circles. Take off your clothes. Hurry, Auntie. Get something to wipe him with. Take him to the hospital right away, I said. Shin Si's mother finally found someone to take charge and scrambled into action. We can't delay. I'm an artist. Son, nothing is more important than your life. She sobbed as she forcibly cut off his shirt and pants with scissors. But the most important first aid after sulfuric acid exposure is rinsing with water. Acid reacts with water and releases heat, but water carries the heat away, so the person doesn't feel intense burning. I learned that only after being hospitalized in my past life. Back then, in agony, I had knocked over a drink on the table, and the burned area on my arm was relieved. Then I went to rinse thoroughly. This time, I was extra kind. I removed every drink within his reach, making sure nothing touched him, while frantically helping my pain. He would have to repay it 1,000-fold for it to be fair. Back in that familiar hospital, the smell of disinfectant oddly comforted me. In the chaos, I took Shin Si's phone into the bathroom. His lock screen had a 4-digit passcode. I tried my birthday first, wrong. Then his, also wrong. Just as I was starting to panic, a message popped up on the screen. Wenqing, how did it go today taking her to see Auntie? Does Auntie like her? Or does she like me more? I almost forgot about her. Shinsi and I were in the same graduating class at Film Academy. Wenqing was 2 years our junior. She was sweet-looking and had known Shinsi since childhood, calling herself his little sister. I never thought much of it until my past life, when I learned they'd been in touch all along, especially after my accident. When the role in director Lee's film became impossible for me, it was only a minor female role, but the character was endearing. Shinsi took my annotated script and gave it to Wenqing, paid off connections, and recommended her to the director. After the film's success, that role won her a fan base, and Wenqing officially entered the industry. This time, they'd stay locked together for good. I entered Wenqing's birthday as the passcode, and it worked. Opening the chat history, I saw that Shinsi had saved my contact as pretty simple-minded fiancé. Scrolling down, I found his roster. Wenqing was listed as sweet spicy little childhood crush. There was also cold beauty goddess, spicy hot coworker, rich dumb fangirl, and even his mother's contact, old irritable mom. I was amused beyond measure. I'd planned to just find his chats with Wenqing, but now I had plenty to browse. As I scrolled, it became painfully clear, the flirting with Wenqing had never stopped. Their relationship hovered somewhere between friends and lovers. If he'd been single, fine, but while dating me, he'd send sweet messages to me while picking out lingerie for another girl. Disgusting. Too much evidence. I decided to keep the phone. No one would notice in all the chaos. When I stepped back out, the police had already arrived outside the operating room and were questioning Shin's mother. Officer, you must get justice for my boyfriend. He's an actor, his future is ruined now. Don't let the perpetrator get away. I wept dramatically, even more intense than his mother. The officer quickly helped me up and comforted me. But Shin's mother's face was sour. If she sent the legitimate son to prison, how would she explain it to Shinsi's father? I only learned all this after marriage. Shinsi's father was a small businessman, but he already had a wife. Shin's mother was his first love from his youth. 23 years ago, they had a fling, and she ended up having the child without telling him, only to return 20 years later. Since most of the father's early business depended on his wife's family, and now that he had power and a handsome young son, he naturally re-established contact. That's why Shinjing, the legitimate son, happened to see Shinsi's cameo on TV one day and, enraged, decided to ruin his face. In my past life, I was the one ruined. To avoid suing her first love son, she even held her nose and let me marry in. Now that it was her own son, it seemed she felt the same. Officer, I am Shinsi's mother. Xiao Su isn't even part of the family yet. This is for us to discuss. Mom, what do you mean? Just because you were the other woman, does that mean the legitimate son can bully Shinsi however he wants? No wonder Shinsi told me you've always fawned over Shinjing. Have you no conscience? Your own son is lying in there. My outburst dropped too much information. People nearby stared. Shin's mother panicked. What nonsense are you talking? Shut up. Our family affairs have nothing to do with you. How is it none of my business? Shinsi told me everything. You're his biological mother. But every time Shinjing causes trouble, you take his side. You've always wanted to push the first wife to death so you can become Shinjing's stepmother. Shut up. Shut up. Shin's mother shrieked and lunged at me, but others held her back. Calm down. You two will give your statements separately. After the police left, Shinsi was wheeled out wrapped in bandages from head to toe, a mummy. Once in the ward, Shin's mother immediately dropped her smile. Nian Nian, what was all that outside? I leaned against the wall, unconcerned. Nothing much. Just what Shinsi told me. If you want a settlement, you'd better think about how to explain it to him. Shin's mother looked suspicious. My son would never say those things. Believe what you want. Ask him yourself when he wakes up. But he couldn't speak right now, since Shinsi's disfigurement was largely his mother's fault. And once doubt takes root, it grows faster in misfortune. In my past life, mother and son lived in harmony. This life, let's wait and see. None of them would have an easy time. I was soon kicked out. But that was fine, they'd call me back. Moral blackmail. Right. They'd definitely come crawling for me to take the fall. But that wasn't important now. The most important thing was Director Lee's role. As soon as I got in a taxi, Shinsi's phone lit up again. Wenqing. Gidge. Why aren't you replying? Didn't you say you'd convince her to give me the role? If not, just drug her on the makeup day so she can't go. Wenqing was filming out of town. Shinsi was also a public figure, and his mother wouldn't let the scandal spread. So she didn't know. I raised an eyebrow, an idea struck me. Shinsi, Sun Yan's route won't work. But I heard the assistant director has a small role up for grabs. He's staying at a sanatorium near you these days. Use your connections, send a gift or something. Wenqing. Okay. Thanks. Gidge. This assistant director came from a wealthy family and hated the entertainment industry's backdoor deals. Actors he blacklisted rarely got work. And I never said what kind of gift to send. Hopefully Wenqing wouldn't offer herself up, otherwise, she'd have only herself to blame. Since I'd been kicked out anyway, I blocked the Shin family's numbers and went home to keep the phone safe. This was my trump card, 1 strike, 1 kill. I quickly joined a production crew. With my understanding of the character from before, plus 2 lifetimes of reference, I performed well. On rap day, even as just a supporting female role, I received a bouquet of flowers. Checking the time, I figured the first reconstructive surgery should be done. Time to go see him. I put on makeup, though I wasn't famous yet, and walked in carrying the flowers from the set. When I entered, Shinsi was screaming at the mirror. My face is ruined. Son. It's okay. It'll get better. I opened the door. Both of them turned to look at me. The moment Shinsi saw me, I let the flowers drop, on purpose. I clearly saw the hurt and pain in his eyes. Then I awkwardly picked them up and said, as if to smooth things over, at least you're alive. You still remember to come. Where were you all this time? Shin's mother started. I rolled my eyes. Unfazed. Son. Look at her attitude. Look at me. I had work. Besides, when Auntie kicked me out, she told me never to come back. Shinsi noticed the flowers, and the congratulations on wrapping. Sign on them. You acted in Southern Kingdom. Yeah, after your mom kicked me out. She said we were broken up. Love was gone, I had to focus on my career. How could you go to work so calmly when I'm in this state? Do you even care about me? I looked at this man with his distorted, scarred face and couldn't help but smile. In my past life, after my accident, he got our marriage certificate and then immediately joined a crew. I could count on one hand the times he spent with me. How dare he ask me that? What about you? After I joined the crew, did Wenqing call you? She got blacklisted somehow and called me, cursing me out, saying I should have listened to you and given up the role. You two have been in touch all along, haven't you? He shook his head frantically. No, that's impossible. She's talking nonsense. Then I'll just joke with you. You can't just ignore me because you're angry. Why should I take care of you? Your mom already thinks I meddle too much. What do you mean? I ignored him and turned to Shin's mother, whose face had darkened. Auntie, how much did Shinjing pay you to sign that settlement so easily? Shinsi is your own son, aren't you going to fight for him? Mom, what does she mean? What settlement? You signed it. Listen to Mom. Mom had no choice. Shin's mother scrambled to explain. I loved watching the chaos. Of course, I said, since the first wife is terminally ill and about to die, you're in a hurry to become the stepmother. How could you blame your future son? Right. Auntie. Shut up. Mom. Explain yourself. The two of them started arguing. Shinsi's pitted face twisted in rage, making him look even more terrifying. His mother actually flinched and backed away. It was getting late. I went downstairs to eat leisurely. When I came back, the two were sitting in silence, seemingly united. But Shin's mother's eyes burned with resentment toward me. Nian Nian. Auntie was wrong. Auntie apologizes. But Xiao Shin is in this state now. You're such a good girl. You wouldn't abandon him in his time of need, would you? Moral blackmail, late. But it arrived. You have to understand. You're a public figure now. If you dare to abandon Shaoshan at a time like this, enough. Shinsi, let's get married. You sucked my bones and blood to rise in your past life. Now it's my turn. Shinsi froze. Stunned. He hadn't expected me to still want to marry him. He seemed genuinely touched. Nian Nian, you're so good to me. He came to hug me. I stepped back. He looked hurt again, though that face, combined with that expression, was hard to look at. But let's make one thing clear. I can marry you, but only if I control all the household finances. Shin's mother couldn't hold back. On what grounds? Auntie, you forgave Shinjing even after he ruined Shinsi's face, just because it was him. If something else happens later, and the money's in your hands, you'll just give it all back to them. Besides, since I'm marrying Shinsi, the money should go toward his surgeries. Would you really be willing to spend it if it's in your hands? At my words, Shinsi's gaze shifted to his mother. Once a crack forms between people, relationships break easily. Seeing her son's expression, Shin's mother grew uneasy. What nonsense. Fine. Forget it then. I won't force anyone. I stood up to leave, but Shinsi grabbed my arm. He turned to his mother with a dark look. Mom, you agree, don't you? Aside from Nian, I'll never find anyone else. In the end, his mother gave in. On the day of our wedding photos, the photographer urged Shinsi to take off his mask. That face silenced everyone on set. He felt embarrassed. His proud ego ground into the dirt, clutching my hand tightly, just like he did in my past life. I smiled and said, Shinsi, you look better today than ever. To outsiders, I was the endlessly tolerant, loving wife, faithful to love, indifferent to appearance. I heard the praise around me and saw the flash of anger and shame cross his face. Not feeling good, are you? Take it slow. After we got the marriage certificate, I started taking stock of the Shin family's assets. To my surprise, their total net worth was around 2 million yuan, far more than I expected. This time, Shin Jing paid 1 million in settlement. Shinsi's father added 500,000 in compensation, plus their savings, and that might not even be all. Not counting the house. Not bad at all. With the money in my hands, I didn't hesitate to replicate his path to fame. This time, I spent 800,000 to buy myself an even better opportunity. I also used the money to actively pay for his surgeries, then joined a crew immediately after the wedding. Just like in my past life, the show gave me instant popularity, and combined with the film's release, I became moderately well known. Especially when the media revealed I was married young, people had initially pitied me, but some witnesses at the Civil Affairs Bureau spoke up for me, posting photos, and public opinion turned in my favor. Netizens commented, "Sister is so devoted, she stayed by him through thick and thin. I really admire her. But doesn't she ever get tired of that face? I couldn't even eat looking at that face. Why can't I find such a loyal girlfriend? Fan for life." My reputation grew. I became busy with productions and could barely spare time for Shinsi. The occasional visits were brief, and I ignored his moods. His gaze toward me shifted from gratitude to mild resentment, to blame, layer by layer. Sometimes I'd be nice to him, and he'd eagerly approach. Then I'd show a flicker of disgust at his face, and he'd retreat, wounded, like training a dog, every day, staring at his own reflection, then watching me on screen. How painful that must be. I controlled all household expenses, and even Shinsi's mother had to grit her teeth and smile at me. Life was good. Then one day, I received a message. Shinsi, Nian, I made soup and brought it to the set to see you. The security guard doesn't believe I'm your husband, he won't let me in. Can you come get me? How familiar. With the roles reversed, I finally understood the feeling. I had no intention of going. My co-star Song Yen smiled and asked, "Is that your husband? The one who married young?" I sighed helplessly. "Yeah, he's very sensitive and keeps a close eye on me." The crew perked up. "He still watches you. After his accident, he's been insecure. I always have to tell him exactly where I am. Last time I came home late because of work. He smashed all the dishes." Murmurs spread. "He's so immature, unlike me. I really feel for you." Sister. The little green tea was good at playing along. Sister. After this scene, can you run through the next one with me? Seeing her sly eyes, I nodded. Of course. Work matters more. Right. You're so dedicated. After hours of work, I was about to wrap up when someone burst in. Sunyen. Sunyen. Come out. Are you cheating on me behind my back? It should have been you who got disfigured. Why me? What did you do? You ruined me. Come out. Hearing his shouts, a thought struck me. He seemed to remember the past life too. He charged in with a knife, swinging wildly. Security guards chased him but dared not get close. Surrounded by my crew, he rushed straight at me. Before he could reach me, Song Yin, who was on a wire, kicked him flying. The knife clattered to the floor. He was quickly subdued. He knew too well how important reputation was in the industry. Maybe, remembering his past life and unable to bear the fall, he wanted to destroy me too. He shouted at the top of his lungs. It should have been your face. You. It's you. You must have done something. How could you do this to me? In just a few sentences, the people around me looked at me with complicated eyes. He was taken to the police station. I waited until midnight to bail him out. On the way, I knew someone was filming me secretly. The next morning, the topic exploded online. The video spread everywhere, and my Weibo was flooded. This is terrifying. Isn't this feeding on human suffering? At Sunyen, explain why he said you were supposed to be the one disfigured. Wait. Everyone, Sunyen's husband Shinci is also a celebrity. This has to be planned. Right. Climbing the ladder by stepping on her husband, so ruthless. Everyone believed his breakdown was real because he was the victim. He easily won the public's sympathy. The world is always like this, everyone says. He's suffered so much. How could he lie? He's suffered so much. How could he be the villain? I said nothing, but Shinci suddenly started using Weibo again. His face was about 70% healed, still bearing strip-like scars. He made a solemn apology to everyone, saying, I've caused everyone trouble, and this has nothing to do with her. With tears in his eyes that invited endless speculation, many netizens commented, blink if you're being coerced. People spun conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory, riding the wave. He even filmed a public service video for the disabled. He and I were now openly at odds. On the night I bailed him out. As he got into the car, the first thing he said was, you're quite capable, Sunyen, taking everything from me. How strange, this person had never had any moral sense. What did I take from you? I was never obligated to shield you from acid. Besides, you're worse than an animal. I was blunt. Since we both remembered, there was no point in pretending. He stared at me, his eyes dark, and smirked. You think I'll lose just because of this? I crushed you in my past life. I can do it again in this one. Oh, then get out. You want to kick me out? Aren't you afraid? Before he could finish, I opened the door and kicked him out. He landed on the curb. From the car, I flipped him off. Get lost. Trash. My reputation was mixed, but my popularity actually grew. He couldn't act with that face, so how could he fight back? I heard he started submitting resumes to production crews, but with his face unable to make basic expressions, no one would hire him. He'd had it too easy in his past life. Been lifted too high, now he couldn't claw his way out of despair. He started posting long essays online, each one accusing me of cold indifference after marriage, hinting that I despised his face and only married him to use him. I didn't explain anything, and my reputation sank to rock bottom. Then, half a month later, he posted a photo of me having dinner alone with Song Yen, accusing me of infidelity and abandoning him. The internet exploded again. My reputation plummeted. People threw eggs at me on the street. He showed up smugly at my apartment, watching me return covered in filth, with no one else around. He showed his true colors. Sunyen, just because I can't find work doesn't mean I can't ruin you. Now, get on your knees at home and beg me. Transfer all your earnings to me, and maybe I'll consider forgiving you. I tossed the vegetable leaves off my head and stared at him with contempt. I don't understand what you're blaming me for. I just didn't take that acid for you. Was I ever obligated to? My words hit a nerve. He grabbed my collar frantically, screaming, "Why wouldn't you shield me? My face is ruined. Ruined. Do you know how much I've suffered? You ruined my life. I was supposed to be famous. I was supposed to be a best actor. It's all your fault. Why wouldn't you help me?" When he pressed a knife to my throat, trying to force me to submit, I broke down. "Why don't you blame your mother for being the other woman? Why don't you blame your brother for throwing the acid? You blame me. I should be the one asking why." He let go of me, watching me slump to the ground. "Of course I blame them too. I won't let any of you off. All of you ruined my life, none of you will escape." Just then, he was tackled to the floor. Police officers emerged from the room, and behind them, my assistant holding a live stream feed. Shinseai stared in confusion. Then realization hit. "It's you. You set me up." "No, it's Meng Yuan. She leaked the information to lure me here." In his past life, Meng Yuan had betrayed me for money. He thought she'd do the same again. But he forgot, if she could betray me for money, she could betray him for a higher price. The live stream had just cleared my name. Armed entry. Threats. Assault. This widely witnessed crime earned him an 8-year prison sentence. The tide turned. I publicly disclosed all the financial support I'd given the Shin family after marriage, including proof of every surgery, and even hired paparazzi to release all his flirtatious chat records. Every tactic he'd used on me in my past life, I gave them all back. Netizens flooded my Weibo. I've never seen anyone so shameless. Just like mother. Like son. Sister. Stay single and thrive. I spent all that time cursing the wrong person, so mad. Don't be another Shinseai. I just don't get it, beautiful wife. Makes good money. Doesn't care about your disfigurement. Spends a fortune on your surgeries, what more could he want? Psychopath. Shinseai was nailed to the pillar of shame forever, with the public watching. The divorce went smoothly. Property division was simple. He was the at-fault party for attempted murder. He got nothing. His father disowned him completely, too disgraceful. Even his mother was abandoned. And after the chat logs went public, aside from Shinseai being roasted, the blacklisted Wenqing was dragged out for public flogging again. Her reputation stank so much she got pelted with vegetables on the street. I guess that's another kind of fame. In this world, some people are never satisfied. Karma comes full circle. Every debt of betrayal and harm is repaid in another form. Everything I have now is what I was always meant to have. My conscience is clear. What do you think of this story? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I look forward to hearing from you.